What's up, everyone? I'm Jackson Cowart here with Sal Interdonato at the Times Herald Record. We're here for the Varsity 845 Baseball All-Star Selection Show. Let's just hop right into it. It's been a great year of baseball. Who do you got at the first positions for pitcher and catcher?
Yeah, first we'll reveal our 12 All-Stars, and then at the end we'll reveal our Player of the Year and our Coach of the Year. So we choose two pitchers, and our two pitchers are Kelvin Marte, sophomore from Middletown, and Joe Ferrer, a junior from Kingston. Now, we'll start with Ferrer first. He finished the season on a 38-game scoreless inning streak. A 38-inning scoreless streak, sorry about that. And he was, amazing in the postseason. He threw a no-hitter in the section semifinals. He threw a two-hitter in the first round of the state tournament against Clarkstown South. Joe was a transfer for John A. Coleman Catholic, which is a Class D school, and he lives in the Kingston area. He's actually a volunteer firefighter, which I thought was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, and this guy, he is just I'm trying to remember back in the major leagues, who's that emotional pitcher out there? Is Clayton Kershaw emotional? I don't know. I guess a little bit. Yeah. But he reminds me of he wears his emotions on his sleeve. When he retired, got out of a jam in the game against Clarkstown South. He's bouncing off the mound. He's jumping across the third baseline and stuff. He just really provided them. Kingston returned no pitching this year at all. Nobody that pitched an inning last year. And he was definitely their unquestioned ace. The other pitcher, Kelvin Marte, a sophomore lefty, 7-1, won his first 7 decisions. He was a Player of the Year candidate for most of the season. He hides the ball really well. He gets it up to the mid-80s. And when you're a lefty and you can have pretty pinpoint control, and you can hide the ball before the batters can't see it out of your hand. He had a lot of success this year. We'll go with the catcher, Nelson Arroyo. He's a Burke Catholic senior. Now, Nelson had a great season on the mound. He pitched 38 innings. He struck out 85 guys. Yeah. And I saw him play against Goshen. And he was, Rob Hennessy had a home run against him, but other than that, he pitched super well. Again, a guy who can bring it into the mid-80s. He's going to Pace University to play. I believe he's going there to pitch. Now, as a hitter for Burke, he hit 400, knocked in 27 runs, and as a catcher, you talk to most of the coaches who faced Burke, and they didn't want to run against this guy. He had the He had the best pop-up time in the section, and just a two-way player. Burke had a great season. I believe they started the season with 15 straight wins, if I'm not mistaken, and they fell just short of beating Marlboro 3-2 in the semifinals of the section. So there's your battery.
Already star power there, but then you go to the infield. Who'd you have there?
Yeah, first base and the corner infield positions were kind of a little bit wide open until you look at first base and Ty Gallagher's statistics. He's a sophomore from Saugerties. He batted .419. He knocked in 30 runs. He hit 4 home runs. He was just like their power in the middle of the lineup. He had a walk-off 2-run homer against Red Hook in a win that he called his best moment of the season. A real solid player. I saw Ty play last year and thought that there was a lot of potential there for Saugerties. They won the section title last year, and he's just going to get better. Sophomore, 2 more years. Power hitter, gap hitter, and be interesting to follow him the next 2 seasons. At second base, this is a good story. Cornwall senior Ryan Triast. Ryan only batted about .260 last year, and he put in a lot of work in the off season. Cornwall did some yoga. Cornwall did hot yoga actually, where they went into a small studio at 100 degrees and for about 45 minutes to an hour just stretched and stuff. Lifted 4 times a week, and Ryan batted .382 this year. And his 32 RBIs were tied for the section lead. And he started the season batting 6th. And he ended up being like a 3-4 hitter for Cornwall, and a very important piece in their run to a Class A title in Section 9. Shortstop is Fritz Genther. He might be the most talented player in Section 9. He's already committed to Virginia Tech. Fritz's power really increased this year. I think last year there were some pieces around him, and Fritz toward the end of the season started to hit in the middle of the lineup his sophomore season. And this year, 5 homers, 10 RBIs. Nobody wanted to pitch to him. He walked like 22 times. The people wanted to avoid him, and defensively, it's A++ glove range that you don't see in high school. Plays that normal shortstops can't make. And Fritz, second straight year he makes our first team. Third base, we chose Logan DeVries, Pine Bush. He's a junior. Logan put up some pretty good batting numbers. He knocked in 17 RBIs. He also was undefeated on the mound, 5-0, with an ERA somewhere around 1.05. A young player in Pine Bush had a really successful season. They won OCIA Division I. They fell a little bit short in the postseason, but DeVries was a constant at the plate and on the mound for Pine Bush.
Yes. Then who did you have finishing up the team?
Well, we have 5 more players. We have outfielders. So in outfield, we have Chester senior Johnny Hipsman. This is his second straight year on the first team. Johnny is going to Richmond Division I and playing, and you won't find a better 5-tool player in the section. Now, the kid can run. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He's a good glove. And I think what really was one of the highlights watching Johnny in his career was the Class B final against Marlboro, where he plays really shallow in center field, and he tracked a ball hit all the way to the warning track at Cantine Field, where he ran a while for it. Yeah. And the next time he gets up, he's the leadoff hitter. The next inning, belts a triple to the wall and scores one of Chester's 2 runs in that game. Just an immense talent. I mean, he had over 100 hits in his high school career, which at the B level you don't really see too much. He was a 5-year varsity player. Wow. And, the last 2 seasons, he played airless baseball in center field. Yeah. I mean, just a talent. Rob Hennessy, a Goshen senior, is another talent, going to Monmouth to pitch. And Rob, had 5 home runs, had over 20 RBIs, had 4 wins on the mound. And his signature game really came in the Class A semifinals, where Goshen knocked off defending champion Saugerties. He went 4 for 4. 3 doubles, a homer, and 7 RBIs. Jeez. I mean, that's a season for some players. Yeah. So, Rob, like 6'4" kid, tall, lanky, will turn out to be a pretty good college player too. And then the outfield, Hawken Meelan, a junior from Pine Bush. He's a lot in the mold of Johnny Hipsman, where he's a great defensive outfielder. He can really go get it. He turned like doubles into outs on a routine basis. Pine Bush's leadoff hitter, hit 393, had some power with a couple home runs, knocked in I think 16 RBIs, and he's the Pine Bush quarterback too, entering his 3rd year this fall as the Pine Bush starting quarterback. Just a great athlete. A utility player. Well, if you have Fritz Genser at shortstop, Sam Mangelli is right with him from Marlboro. Talent-wise, those guys are neck and neck, and we chose Sam Mangelli, Marlboro Jr., as our utility player on the first team, and his numbers are off the charts. I mean, .517 batting average. The OPS was over 1.6, which is ridiculous. Absurd, yeah. Ridiculous. 19 extra base hits, 10 doubles, I think 4 triples and 5 home runs. Yeah. And 32 RBIs, tied for the area lead. Committed to Sacred Heart, and he also pitches and was 4-0 on the mound. I mean, just a really good season for Sam. And our DH, we chose Matt Kraft of Cornwall. He's a 3-year starter. He pitches, he plays the outfield, he plays first base, and Matt was a key component in Cornwall's first Section 9 championship since 2013. Hit .425, knocked in another guy who knocked in over 21 runs. Got the offense. It was Ian Enginito at the top of the lineup. It was Matt Kraft and Ryan Trias knock him in. That was really a lot of the Cornwall offense. Matt Kraft is going to Cortland to play baseball Division III, and doesn't know what he'll do. He's a good athlete. He was I didn't know this until I talked to him. He was a 800-meter state relay championship for Cornwall in the indoor season this year. Yeah. And he just picked up track in his junior year. Yeah. So I mean, just athletic ability off the charts. That's our first team. Now we can talk about the big awards here. So
yeah. So who did you have for Player of the Year? You have all those players laid out on the first team. Who got the honor?
Yeah, it was Sam Mangelli. Again, his numbers were off the charts, and just watching Sam play, it seemed so easy for him. Mm-hmm. Here's a stat that I didn't mention. He struck out 1 time in 60 at bats this season. I mean, that's ridiculous. In high school baseball, that is ridiculous. Wow, yeah. And teams were pitching around him. He draw walks, and just a two-way player, Yeah. One of the best hitters in the section, the best hitter in the section at .517. Yeah. And when you can go on the mound and go 4-0 and strike out 39 guys in 24 innings.
Yeah.
Wasn't asked to really pitch a lot, but when he did, he was effective.
Yeah.
And again, good fun fact about this is that his brother Nick won our Player of the Year award in 2016.
Oh wow, yeah.
And Nick, that's the year Marlboro won a state Class B title, and Nick had like 13 wins that season. And the same amount of wins, he picked up wins in relief, he picked up wins as a starter. So they are the second brother tandem to win the Player of the Year award. Brendan Karenchek and James Karenchek of Valley Central won the award in 2010 and 2014, respectively. James Karenchek is pitching his heart out for Cleveland in Class A, doing a wonderful job in Class A. He's one of the top pitching prospects for the Indians right now.
Yeah. So
that's the talent we're talking about here. And for Coach of the Year, we went with Tom Fanning of Cornwall. Tom, Cornwall's a consistent winning program every year. And the 3 years previous, they fell short in the Section 9 championship game. And this year, they won their school's first title in 5 years, and they put a lot of work into this season. Kids commit to summer ball after last year's disappointment, and we talked about hot yoga. We talked about lifting. I didn't talk about he tried to reserve space at West Point just for hitting in the fall, hitting in the winter, getting this guy some fresh ABs, keeping them ready for the season. And I was talking to this assistant coach, Guy Masonette, who's known Tom Fanning played for Guy Masonette in 1990, his senior year, as a starting shortstop. The two are friends now. He says, in 32 years of baseball, I don't know anybody that works harder than Tom Fanning. So Tom Fanning is now a two-time Varsity 845 player, Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's all the first team players and the coach, player of the year. Anything else that you got?
Yeah, I mean, you guys just want to check out our coverage in Sunday's paper. It's usually a 4-team spread, and we do a really nice job of profiling our all-stars, and we'll also have social media. Check our Instagram account and our Twitter account at Varsity 845 for some photos and just some videos of the photo shoots with our all-stars.
Yeah, it was fun. I was here watching them, and we got some cool answers from that. So check that out. But this is kind of the unofficial end of the high school baseball season. Thanks for watching the All-Star Reveal.